Hello everybody and welcome to the video notes for Unit 2, Day 7. Today we are continuing our work with dividing fractions using the reciprocals, and today we're working with dividing mixed numbers. Today's video is dedicated to Noelle in 6B. Hi Noelle. In this first part, we're going to practice converting or changing a mixed number into an improper fraction, because we're going to use that technique when we're dividing with mixed numbers. So the first method that you can use is to draw out a diagram. So let's look at this first one, 2 1/3. So you can draw what that would look like. You would have one hole, two holes, and then 2 1/3 is between 2 and 3, so you need to draw out another one here, and then split all of this into thirds because it's 2 1/3. And then once you have this, you can shade in what 2 1/3 would be. So it's this, 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 this. Right, that's 1. This is 2. There's 3 holes. And then the 1/3 right there. So this is 2 1/3. And then from here, it's really easy to count how many thirds you have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 thirds. So 2 1/3 is the same thing as 7 thirds. That's how we just changed this mixed number into an improper fraction like that. Another way you can do it, and this is what we're going to call the shortcut, because it's going to be faster, and when you get really big numbers, it's really hard to draw a big diagram. So 2 1/3, we have 2 holes, and in each of those 2 holes, there was 3 thirds. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these first 6. That's the same thing as taking our thirds and multiplying it. So draw an arrow kind of like that, and then do an X for multiplication. Right, we're multiplying 3 times 2, so the thirds times the 2 holes. So equals, right, we did 3 times 2, and then we have this extra 1/3 out here, right, that's what this is. So then draw another arrow going like this, and putting a plus sign. So you're going to multiply 3 times 2, and then add it to the numerator, plus 1. So 3 times 2 plus 1. All of that is going to be over, that's how many thirds we have. So the denominator here stays the same, just like that. So we figure out what this equals. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's going to be 6 plus 1 over 3. 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. 7 thirds, look at that. Same thing here as right there. So now that we've learned this shortcut method, I want you to try using this shortcut on each of these 3 mixed numbers right here. Right, you remember you multiply, and then you add it to that, and the denominator stays the same. Right, you can go ahead and draw this in if you forget. You multiply these 2, and then you add it to the numerator, just like that. So with that, I'm going to have you pause the video and finish these 3, A, B, C, on your own. Write those as improper fractions. Pause and do that now. And now you are resuming the video after, and only after, you have tried these 3 on your own. Let's check our work. 3 times 2 plus 2 all over 3. This is equal to 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 over 3. That is equal to 8 thirds. Here, 5 times 3 plus 2 all over 5. This is equal to 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2. And then so we have 17 over 5. Next one, right, multiply that, add it to that. 6 times 4 is, and then plus 3 all over 6. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 3 over 6. And this equals 27 over 6. All right, if you got all 3 of those correct, 3 gold stars to you. And now that we are comfortable doing that, let's level up and take a look at part 2. So let's read this together. And as we read, underline the math clues and then double underline what the problem's asking you to find. Carlos has 4.5 walls left to paint. Okay, that looks like a math clue to me. In order for all the bedrooms in his house to have the same color, so we know he has to paint 4.5 walls. However, he has used almost all of his paint and only has 5/6 of a gallon left. So he has 5/6 of a gallon's worth of paint. How much paint can he use on each wall in order to have enough to paint the remaining walls? So we want to figure out how much paint can he use on each wall. Let's double underline that. So let's think through what's happening here. We have 5/6 of a gallon, and we're splitting that 5/6 a gallon on 4.5 walls. So we're starting with 5/6 and splitting it so we can paint 4.5 walls. So our division sentence is going to be, we have 5/6 and we're dividing 5/6 into the 4.5 walls. And we're trying to figure out what that equals. So before we can divide 5/6 by 4.5, we need to convert 4.5 into, you guessed it, an improper fraction. So 4.5, right? So we're going to multiply that and then add it to that. So 4 times 2, or 2 times 4, plus 1, same thing. All of that over 2. And so 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So that equals 9 over 2. Now let's rewrite our equation. So it's 5/6 divided by, we changed 4.5 to 9 over 2. Now from here, this looks like something pretty familiar. This is going to be equal to 5/6, right? If we're dividing by 9/2, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal of 9 over 2, which means we just switch the numerator and the denominator for the reciprocal. So 5/6 times, we switched it, 2 over 9, and then we can multiply across. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 9 is 54. All right. And just for good measure, let's check to see if we can simplify. 10 over 54, is there some number that I can divide into both of those? I know that it's an even number. 10 is even, 54 is even, so I can divide both of them by 2. Let's try that. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 54 divided by 2. You could use long division, but for now, let's just use our mental math. 50 divided by 2 is 25. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it's going to be 2 plus 25, which is 27. So 5/27. Let's write our answer statement. He can use 5/27, and what's our units? It was gallons. Right, yep, 5/6 of a gallon. He can use 5/27 of a gallon on each wall. All right. So let's put it all together in our big idea. the main thing that I want you to remember from this lesson is when dividing mixed numbers, turn them into improper fractions first. So when dividing mixed numbers, turn them into improper fractions first. Now that we know how to do that, let's go to the now you try problem. And it's that time again. Pause the video, try this problem on your own, and then resume the video after you have finished. So pause, try that one, go. Okay, now you are continuing the video after you have tried this. Let's take a look. Remember, first thing we have to do is change the mixed number into an improper fraction. We can do that by multiplying 7 times 3 and then adding it to 4. So 7 times 3 plus 4 all over the original denominator, 7. So 7 times 3 is 21 plus 4 over 7. 21 plus 4 is 25 over 7. Okay, so now we have 3/4 divided by, and then we change 3 4/7 into 25 over 7. This is equal to 3/4 times, we take the reciprocal of this number here that we're dividing by. So we switch the numerator and the denominator. 3/4 times 7 over 25. And we can multiply across. 3 times 7 is 21. 21. 4 times 25 is 100. All right, 21 out of 100. 21 is divisible by 3 and 7. 100 is not divisible by 3 and 7, so we can't simplify this anymore. That is our answer. And with that,
thank you so much for playing my game.